Hello, friends. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the weather out there today. If you live in the Dallas area, it appears that spring has come back, but we thought that about 2 or 3 weeks ago too, and look what happened to us. So, I hope you can get outside, spend some time with your family, and just have a blessed day. And today in the studios we have Marco Luna. Hey, Pastor, how you doing today?
Doing good. How you doing, Pastor?
I'm so glad you're here today.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. It's an honor.
Yeah, thank you, brother. So you lead pastor at the Gathering Church?
The Gathering Church there in Dallas.
Yep, and you're married?
Married, 34 years this November.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. You have children?
3 kids, 3 adult kids, 1 in heaven. My oldest is my daughter, and then my middle child is my daughter, and my youngest is my son. 1 son.
So how old is your daughter?
My daughter is 26 years old.
Oh,
well, actually, she just turned 27.
Okay.
Yeah. So 27, 26, 25.
Oh.
Yeah, right back to back. I try to be like the Cowboys and do back-to-back Super Bowls, but yeah. We're not going to touch that.
I'm so sorry that he mentioned the Cowboys today, guys. They keep saying things are going to change.
Yes.
Reminds me of something that I heard Bill Wilson say a long time ago. Some things change, but not much.
Not
okay,
much.
so
yeah, that's true. That's true.
So tell us about your church.
Well, we're a church plant through the North Texas District, and we started back in about 2009. We started kind of testing the waters and officially became a church in 2010. So we just reached 16 years old. This November we'll be turning 16, and we started off from scratch. Our launching church was my father-in-law, but he was with the Spanish district of the Assemblies of God, and we were with North Texas district. And but we right away told him, hey, we want to start fresh with nobody, just me and my wife and my kids. And he offered, like, well, I can send some families with you to get it going. And I'm like, no. And so we just kind of went on our own and just started, meeting with people and going and inviting people kind of, out in the streets. And we'd go to Starbucks, kind of like the little watering hole, the wells.
Now you're talking my language, okay?
Yeah, we went to Starbucks and ran into some CFNI students, not knowing they were CFNI students, but then they ended up showing up, and they eventually 2 or 3 weeks later on became our first worship band. And just God started opening doors, and just brand new people that were brand new to the Lord, giving their life to Christ. So we've had probably in our 16 years, we've had maybe 10 families that came from another church to our church, but mostly they're all brand new sons and daughters of the church.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
New Christians.
New
brothers, new
believers. Yep.
Yeah.
New believers.
Now, your church is located where in Dallas?
We're located just about a mile and a half south of I-30 on Loop 12. We're just down the street from Metro Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas Metro. We're just down the street from you guys. We're your neighbors, and the Lighthouse, and of course the Potter's House. So we're just on the little corridor of Loop 12 and 30.
So you're in Oak Cliff.
We're in Oak Cliff. Oak Cliff, yeah.
Okay, why Oak Cliff?
Just kind of like we grew up there in Oak Cliff, and even though we lived for a short time out in the Mesquite area, we just felt like this call towards Oak Cliff, and it was kind of like, it is a big question, Pastor Clay, because there are so many great churches and so many great ministries just in that corridor. I'm like, man, what difference am I going to make here, or what difference? And the Lord kind of just spoke to me and says, yeah, you're going to reach the people that these other churches, these other congregations are not going to reach. And then it kind of made sense. That, that target group.
Is your church primarily Hispanic families?
Predominantly Hispanic, but they are second, third generation, so they can eat the menudo, and they can eat but they don't speak the language. Yeah. So it's that second, third generation that we kind of targeted, and it's kind of like an unchurched people group, because sometimes they don't find their identity, in an all-white church, if you want to call it, or in an all-black church. They don't find their identity, they don't find their way, even though they're great churches. But we just felt like they kind of fall off, if they do go to college or trade school or whatever, and nobody's really reaching out to that generation that's Latino, Latin, Hispanic, but they speak English, but they eat, pupusas, and they eat tamales, and they eat menudo,
So your church is English speaking?
English speaking. We do have a Spanish service that we have launched, and that's just in the testing phases. And the only reason we did that, Pastor Clay, is because we noticed that these young couples that have been coming to our church are now inviting their parents. So now the grandparents or parents are coming of those young couples, and they predominantly speak Spanish. And so they don't understand the English, and they're like, Español. So we kind of did it backwards. We know a lot of great churches that are doing, adding a Spanish service to their service but we started our church all English, reaching the Hispanics, and now 15 years later, we're like, okay, we need to do something for the parents of these young couples that are coming to our church.
Yeah. So Oak Cliff has an unfair label on it.
Yes, it does.
Why do you think that is?
It's funny because when you say that, Pastor Clay, because I've been to, like right now, I'm at a conference here in the Plano area, Frisco area, and a lot of my friends that are pastoring in the North Dallas, north of downtown Dallas, they're like, where's your church at? We're in Oak Cliff. Like, oh, their face changes, and they're like, oh, I heard a lot of bad things about Oak Cliff, and drive-by shootings and helicopters.
And they're all true.
and most of it is true.
It is true, yeah.
But I feel it's kind of like a great need. It's kind of like where there's a large amount of sin, where sin abounds, grace abounds even more. And so I feel that God has uniquely positioned us there in the Oak Cliff area to reach the people that normally other churches would not reach.
Yeah. You had mentioned to me. You mentioned now, and you mentioned before we started recording today that you're in a conference right now, pastors' conference.
Yes.
The last few years has been tough for pastors, particularly in the North Texas. I would say, really since COVID.
Yes.
It's been challenging for pastors, but there's, particularly here in the North Texas area, there's been a lot of pastors that are not completing their assignment.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
That is so good. Well, one of the things that I just gleaned right now coming from the conference is that the speaker mentioned about the rhythm of the Sabbath, that we're always kind of like on, and he's using the example of Moses in the mountain getting, the commandments from God, and while he's getting this download from heaven, the people of Israel are down near the foot of the mountain taking their earrings off and their gold off.
Kind of doing their thing, right?
Yeah, kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I feel like he made a good point that as pastors we want to always be on, but we never take a Sabbath. And he goes, and usually the most creative moments, even though we have a creative God, the most creative moments that God can give a pastor or a leader of a congregation or a ministry is right after the Sabbath. And it's kind of hard for God to speak to us when we're not taking that Sabbath. And he's talking about the rhythms. And so I feel like with so much going on, like you said, like you mentioned right now with the whole pandemic, and, a lot of churches literally closing down their doors because they weren't able, they didn't have the technology, they didn't have, the footprint on a social media platform to be able to, just go live, with just 2 or 3 people in the congregation and just kind of preach to an empty room. Most of them shut down their doors and they didn't recover. A lot of them that did recover are kind of like rebuilding their ministries up again, because a lot of people just kind of like, especially in my culture, Hispanics, they're like, we're not going back to physical church, to the actual building until all this is over, And now we're here, 2026? And some still never came back. So I feel like that kind of like uncovered or maybe discovered a lot of people that were kind of just attenders but not really believers. Yeah. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I think that the one thing that COVID did is it put a magnifying glass on everything.
Yes.
So the things that were good, we discovered they were really, really good. Mm-hmm. But the things that were not healthy,
that's right,
became very, very bad.
Yes.
And I too have heard so many pastors that they said, well, when my people come back. And my response to them is, first off, they weren't with you anyway.
Yes.
They were coming, but they weren't with you.
But they weren't with you.
And they're not coming back.
That's right.
So, but I have also, I'm a people watcher.
Yes.
I have my whole life. One of my pastimes, particularly as a younger man, is I would go, when things were really, really tough, I would go to the mall and sit down with a bag of popcorn, and I'd eat the popcorn, and I'd watch the people go by.
Yeah.
Just observing them as to what they're doing. And so I've always been a people watcher.
Yes.
And I've noticed, particularly people in the ministry, make small decisions that didn't seem to be big decisions, right?
Right.
And yet, then that small decision, and you kind of going, and then that decision led to another decision.
Oh, yes.
And you were talking about the Sabbath. I as a pastor, I'll be the first to admit I violated that once or twice.
Oh yeah, I'm guilty too. Guilty. Yeah. We want to be always on, and we want to always be, maybe kind of like wearing so many hats, cleaning the toilet and fixing this sink and doing the vacuuming and preaching the sermon and having a staff meeting, and we want to do so many things, but we're literally wearing ourselves out.
We are,
because God wants us to honor that Sabbath. As a matter of fact, the conference I just came from, he gave a scripture in Exodus where he literally says they should be put to death if they're not practicing the Sabbath. He goes, imagine if our churches, if we really honored this, how many of our people would be dead because we never honor the Sabbath. We never really rest. And it's so true. If you think about it, we have to rest, and we can't be always on. He goes, we need to rest. That way we'll be able to be creative, not just in the ministry sense, but also in your family, with your wife, with your as your marriage, with your children, which we see, Pastor Clay, in these last couple of years, so much stuff going on in the ministry that's really hitting the church, of this exposure that God is causing, where pastors are failing their wives or failing their children or failing their congregation. And it kind of not only hurts him and the family itself, but it hurts the congregation and the church at large, because then people that we're trying to reach with the gospel, they're like, well, no, that thing just came out and it's all over news, all over Facebook, all over everywhere. And I thought they had it going on, and now, so I don't trust the church, and all this stuff begins to happen when we fail to kind of trust God, like you said, not only for the little decisions, but also for the big decisions that we make, because those little decisions become big, as we can see, what's been unraveling lately.
One of the things that Barbara and I did was we always had a date night.
Awesome. I love it.
First off, I realized really, really quick I wasn't, I had two things going for me: Jesus and Barbara.
There you go. There you go. That's the concentration right
there. If you want to keep both of them, you got to spend time with both of them.
That's
right.
You know
what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so,
that's so true.
We did all and hear people like, well, I don't have money to do. Well, I mean, a lot of stuff we did didn't cost us a dime, man. We went down to the. We have in the studio today assisting Chris is my son Brent. Hey Brent, glad you're here today, son. Right down the street, there was a little park. I hated that park, but she liked to go down there. What's that park called down there on Hampton Street? You're gonna leave. Just throw me on the. What's that? It's not Keys. It's further.
Kids Springs.
Thank you. Kids Springs. I hated that park. They had ducks down there with geese. Yes. And those geese, as you're walking around, they get up behind you and they snap at your legs, I'm going, I'm fixing to send you home to see Jesus,
We call them Oak Cliff ducks. They're pretty violent.
They are violent. There's no question about that.
You got to be careful.
So my point, it didn't cost us anything, And there at the end, when Barbara couldn't get out at all, well, hardly at all, she used to go to Walmart. Now, another thing that Brent and I have in common, when we have to go to Walmart, that's our penalty for whatever we did wrong.
Yes, yes. Mine's Hobby Lobby. Yeah, mine's Hobby Lobby.
Oh, I like Hobby Lobby. Yeah. I love those people at Hobby Lobby. Those are great people. But my point was, we still had a date night.
That's right. So
every
important.
week. Exactly. It was a priority. But you need a date night with the Lord. You know.
That's right.
I think one of the well, first off, if you have a date night with your wife, you're not going to let those other things.
Exactly.
First off, you're communicating to her how important she is to you.
That's
right. And not even realizing it, you're setting up a standard. It's going to protect your family.
Yes.
Instead of somebody else coming in and becoming a distraction and allowing the enemy. But another trap that as pastors, and I've been in this before, I'm studying for Sunday, or I'm studying for Sunday school, or I'm studying for the outreaches. And if you're not careful, you find yourself, it's not that you're not in the Word.
Right.
You're in it a lot.
Right.
But it's not for you.
Yeah, it's for the people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the one of the traps that we get into is we forget that, first off, we are a son or a daughter.
That's right.
Of the Lord. And that He has something for me.
Yes.
Today. If I'll just open up His Word.
That's right.
And allow Him to speak to me.
That's right. One of our district officials, Pastor Clay, told us that he was kind of given the task to come in the case of a pastor's falling out, something happened, sin, infidelity, whatever the case may be. And he said that every time he would sit down with that pastor that, would kind of like question, kind of dig deep, pull back the layers, it would always lead back to what you just said, that they were studying the Word, researching, doing their exegesis, doing all the preparation to preach a sermon to the people, but it was never something personal.
Right.
They had left that way back when. And so when they're not getting fed, they're just kind of handing off the ball that was given to them, but it's nothing that they owned. And he said that's when the decay began to take place, where it was easy for them to fall to a temptation or to an advancement from another woman that was not their wife. And even like my wife and I, we try to tell this to our couples, hey, make sure you have a date night. But then we go a little further, Pastor Clay, we say, and leave your phones in the car.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Because we've been guilty of it. Well, we'll be on a date night and we look around the restaurant or wherever we're at, and there's literally couples sitting across from each other, but they're on their phone.
Right.
And so they're really not having any face-to-face. And so we try to push that a little bit. We say, hey, face-to-face, you have to have some face-to-face time. You have to have some side-to-side time. So that's like me going to Hobby Lobby, pushing that cart
there you go.
next to my wife, because that's her love. And so I want to be able to walk with her at Hobby Lobby, even though I don't like Hobby Lobby. But that's that side-to-side. But then she needs to be able to be by my side when I watch the Cowboys, even though she's a Cowboy fan. She sits next to me, and sometimes she cheers the Cowboys on more than I do. But that's her side-to-side time with me. And then I said, and then, of course, to keep it belly button to belly button time, you got to have some, not necessarily, but just some time together, whether that's just, hugging or cuddling or whatever, to keep that love alive. Love alive,
Absolutely. Yeah, every week we try to give a nugget to people, and I knew we were going to talk today about pastors. I mean, obviously we are pastors. We love pastors.
Yes.
Want to see them succeed.
Yes.
I remember as a young man when someone that ever have too much respect for somebody?
I did. I did have a lot too much respect for someone that I really honored, and then
they disappointed you.
And then they disappointed me,
too.
And I just couldn't figure out how to get over that. And my wife helped me through that step. Yeah.
I realized as a young man, I did have too much respect for a person, and when they fell, it was devastating for me.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, okay, because we got Jesus and we have this guy, and then I'm down here somewhere, right?
Yes, exactly. That's me.
So, I began to ask the Lord. I went, okay, first off, how do I deal with this? And second off, how do I not become like this?
Like that person,
right?
Yes.
And so, a theme verse that we had taught kids early on was Proverbs. Above all else, guard your heart.
Yeah, Proverbs 4:23.
And yeah, that became, and it still is, it's the theme verse for my life.
Yes.
Because when you guard your heart, that other stuff doesn't come. And there's all kinds of ways to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Mean, dating your wife, that guards your heart.
Yes.
You know, spending time with the Lord, just as a father-son or as a father-daughter, that guards your heart.
Guards your heart.
Reading the Word.
Yes.
For you, not for them.
Not for them.
For you.
Yes.
It guards your heart. And so the verse I wanted to give to our friends today, it's Hebrews chapter 12, verse number 1. It says, therefore, since we're surrounded by a great, huge crowd of witnesses of life, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up.
Yes.
Does that not?
That sums it up.
And
yes.
Let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. Verse 2 says, we do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus.
That's so good.
So my admonition to those, this doesn't necessarily just have to be pastors. It can happen to anybody, obviously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If keep your eyes on the Lord.
On the Lord.
Guard your heart. And as you spend more time with the Lord, you'll be surprised. There'll be things that, like I tell people, there are things that I did last year that I can't do this year.
That's right.
And the reason for that is because of the time I spent with the Lord.
That's right.
And you become more sensitive to Him and to His leading, and you got to go in. Sometimes you'll go, ouch, maybe that's not good for me, right?
Right. So
today we're announcing something that's public for the very first time here on the podcast. Saturday, March. You can hear a lot of noise.
Yes.
Coming down the street from your church on Saturday, yes. March 14th. At 1 p.m., we're going to have our groundbreaking. As you know,
we're going to be there. God willing.
Thank you, brother. The Lighthouse is providing land right next door to them. We'll be a little closer to you than what we are right now.
Yes.
And we'll be celebrating that on
awesome.
March the 14th. And so share with the people that are watching or listening, why should they partner with us today?
Well, I'm excited because you know what? I've been kind of like had a front row seat to just what all God is doing with Dallas Metro, and just to, from just simply just showing up, with the Sidewalk Sunday School, to be able to just show up, in a neighborhood across the street from a school, to see the kids, kids' faces light up. And I think as I was coming over here, as I was driving over here, the word that the Lord gave me was that your consistency in a very chaotic neighborhood has brought so much stability to kids who hardly ever see that in their homes. In the community that we're in, the apartment complexes are filled with drugs, abuse, violence, shootouts, drive-bys, definitely. And these kids grow up in a very chaotic environment, even in the school, where something consistent in their life, even though they may not physically go to a church, they see that Metro Sidewalk Sunday School, vehicle drive up, and they're like, okay, Jesus is on my block. Jesus just showed up here. And it's beyond just the snacks you guys give and but the words and the consistency. And I think that the longevity and the legacy that you guys are building in the community, where you see a kid that that was with you guys at 8 or 10 years old, sitting down on that lawn, on that tarp y'all put down, just sitting there, hearing the word. And now that little girl, that little boy is graduated in his college, and now they're like, I can point back to when I was 8 or 10 years old, and these guys came to my neighborhood, to my apartment complex, and they did this amazing work, and they never quit. Rain or shine, they would show up. And I think that's what just like when I see your guys' ministry and what God is doing with you guys are seed spreaders. You've been spreading the seed of the gospel of Jesus Christ upon all these little hearts that maybe were broken, maybe like felt like they were hopeless, and you brought seeds of hope to them, and then you've seen that grow up. I can't remember the name of the person that, I think his last name was Emerson, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but he said, here's an acorn, and what most people see an acorn, he said, I see a forest of trees. And that's what I see when I see your ministry, when I see everything you guys have done by the grace of God. I see that those seeds that were planted in those little kids are now growing up to be forest for the kingdom of God. And now some of them are, I guess maybe you could say you put your bread upon the waters, right? And it's going to come back to you. Some of those have come back to your ministry, and they're like, hey, yeah, I was that kid, but now I'm 20-something years old, and I'm here because of what Pastor Clay and what the faithfulness of God and their faithfulness to what they're doing to reach these kids that to be honest with you, transparently, most pastors in the Metroplex could care less about the kids. They're worried about mom and dad because mom and dad have money. Mm-hmm. Mom and dad have the tithes, and the offerings, but not the kids. So who's reaching the kids? And I think you've mentioned this before, and maybe in your podcast, that you reach the kids, you reach the family, you reach the parents. And so I think that anyone that is considering investing, anyone that's considering even giving, whether it's $10 or $10 million, whatever the case may be, you're planting that seed in good soil because of the consistency and the longevity and the legacy that you guys are leaving for these kids. Long before you and I are gone, we're going to see the fruit of that, the fruit of those children grow up in the Lord and make an impact in their community. And maybe it's not in the church, but maybe it's, in the courthouse or in the schoolhouse or whatever they decide, what career they go. That word was instilled in them when they were 8 or 10 years old on that mat, on the grass, when they were eating their Cheetos and hearing the gospel of Jesus.
I'm smiling because I two things I heard you say there. In the courthouse, we have an attorney who grew up someone you didn't think would ever make it, right? We've got teachers that are teaching in DISD. Right. We need some Christian teachers in our schools. This isn't a DISD problem. It's a school problem. We need Christian teachers.
We do.
In our school. I am so glad that you took time out of your schedule.
Oh, yeah. It was my honor
today.
My honor. But definitely, man, I just congratulate you, Pastor, and just cheer you on and just the dreams that God has put inside of you and of the ministry. I believe God's going to bring them to pass, and I encourage anybody that is watching this to just really dig deep and say, hey, how can I be a part of this? How can I help out? Whether it's a small seed or a large seed, but plant it. Yeah. Let it go. Release it for this ministry. Yes.
I'm so glad that you tuned in with us today. I hope you have been blessed. If I could circle back, Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart. That applies to everybody. If we'll do that, then we'll be amazed what the Lord can do in us. And also that date, March the 14th, that's a Saturday, 1 p.m. You can check on our webpage. As a matter of fact, won't you go to our webpage now, dallasmetro.org. Scroll down or click down to All In. In All In, you'll see the information about the groundbreaking. And also at the bottom there, you can see where you could take and make a donation. So I'm asking you, would you prayerfully consider helping us today? Remember, our goal is to pay cash for this. No debt. The Lord really spoke to me about this again just this past month. and that is He didn't call our team to be burdened with a loan. He called us to be burdened for the lost. So I'm asking you, let's don't leave behind a debt that's a problem. Let's be faithful with what God has blessed us with. And would you consider making a 12-month commitment to help us pay for this absolutely debt-free? I'm believing that some of you are going to help us today. I hope to see you on March 14th at that groundbreaking. It's going to be an incredible day. Have a blessed week, friends. God bless you. Bye-bye.